Hi everybody, here's a relatively quick, I hope, video outlining what you need to do this week during your asynchronous time. First of all, this week has the major opportunity to get feedback from Donna Ross. So I'm going to talk about that first, although you will sequence it based on your schedule because everyone's going to rotate through. So first of all, the basic instructions are we're going to put the Zoom link in that Donna shares and essentially think of it like she's in a classroom down the hall, and when it's your turn, based on the schedule, you will leave the Zoom meeting that you're in to collaborate, and you will enter into Donna's Zoom room where she will be waiting for you. She may be with another group when you arrive, but then that'll end their session and begin your session. So as you can see, the schedule for our class is available at the bottom, and you will have to plan the rest of your session working with your group around your 20-minute window with Donna. You should be prepared for your meeting with Donna based on the time that you had with a peer and all of our work, our peer feedback on Monday, and all of our work the previous week with your group to get ready for the pitch. Remember, well, first of all, when you arrive in the room, be sure to introduce yourselves to Donna, and then you'll spend some time sharing with her your initial thinking. Remember to frame it tentatively. You want to open things up so she feels willing to give you feedback, but you also need to give her enough information about what you're thinking so she can give you good feedback. And then be sure to take notes and listen to all the different ideas she shares. Feel free to ask follow-up questions. Really make use of this time. As you know, Donna is spent the last 5 years working with teachers to support them with foundational Indigenous knowledge. So she has a wealth of resources and experience to point you in. So use this time to get that feedback. When you finish that time with Donna, make sure to document that idea, your ideas, go back to your Zoom room that you originally started in, and be sure to document the ideas you heard and the changes you want to make, maybe negotiate those a little bit. As it says here, we will begin to flesh the ideas out further in the unit plan template next week, but really important is to not lose the momentum of what you heard from Donna and discuss it together and decide how it's going to inform your next steps. Okay, so the next piece is your teacher's designer poster. You have a big work time to work on that. Again, you may do this first. You may build the timing around whenever you go and see Donna. We've provided you with some templates that you can use to get you thinking, and some different examples. We want you to have creative control over playing around with formats. As it says here, you may choose an overarching metaphor, sort of like we did in SCMP 500 with the infographics, where you'll have a metaphor that supports your thesis about how you're viewing teacher as designer, and that might provide some coherence. Importantly today is to really spend some time with the subheadings that are listed there: why teacher's designer, role of the teacher, role of student, learning environment, task design, assessment, inclusion, numeracy, literacy. What you're doing is what do those things mean in this frame of teacher's design? What do they mean to you? How are you thinking about these things? So it's not that you, and how are you working with them as a teacher designer? So it's not necessarily role of student, that could be a huge thing, thinking of what, defining this role of student more generally, but it's specifically within this frame of how you're viewing this concept of teacher as designer. What is the role of student? So it may help you to draw on the notes that you've been collecting over the previous weeks and start to think about how you might think about them in these headings. In each section of your poster, I'm envisioning that you'll have some insights in statement form or paragraph form, and you might support those with some quotes from work, but you're definitely organizing all of this poster around your answer to the question, what does it mean to you to consider your role as teacher as designer, and how are you conceptualizing that? So you can build this big long work time. We've given you a huge window here. After you've had some individual work time as organized by your group, you will come back together to build shared understanding. Again, a big window of time. I'm envisioning here that you spend time negotiating understanding of the different headings. You may get some feedback on your beginning ideas for organization, how you're thinking about your thesis and the coherence of your poster through the format and the graphic imagery, etc. But a lot of the time can be sharing how you're conceptualizing teacher's designer and the different subheadings. You may choose to do the first and second hour here more together or more apart. Like as a group, you can determine, do we want to spend the whole hour working on our own and then get together, or do we want to kind of do some time on our own and then get together and then go back on our own, or work more on it kind of in the same room so we can bounce ideas off of each other. Those are up to you. This poster is going to be due in the coming weeks, so we hope that this time gives you a lot of an opportunity to get through it and get feedback. Lastly, we want you to spend some time with your bullseye target as you have in the past, and do a weekly self-assessment with evidence, thinking about how you gave feedback, how you listened to Donna, what your all these elements of today's session, as well as since you last gave filled this in, the work that you've done in class can also be like in face-to-face class, can also be taken into consideration when you do the self-assessment. Okay, I think I hope that provides an overview. Hope you had a great group work session today. Talk to you later.